Good evening and welcome to my Egun's Diary tonight. So, Facebook has restricted us again, okay? So, don't be surprised if we don't have many people viewing us tonight. So, manage that and, as usual, they've restricted us. They are trying to gag us. So, if you read the caption of the broadcast, you can make your own contribution. There won't be any phone calls tonight, please. So it's just going to be a straight talk tonight. And maybe at some point we can allow one or two people to join us. If you make a request on the screen, so you can join by connecting to the broadcast and make your own contribution. So if you read the caption of the broadcast, the reality today is that Sowore is the one that created all the problems Nigeria and Nigerians are facing today. That's if you have been following the event since the kidnap of Sowore by the Daura Secret Service, the DSS, Buhari's DSS. So when they kidnapped him on the 3rd of August 2019, simply because of the planned nationwide protest called Revolution Now, organized by the Coalition for Revolution, CORE, the group comprising so many other civil society groups, ethnic organizations, and so on and so forth, student community as well. So they kidnapped him on the 3rd of August 2019, and 5 days or 6 days later, they finally, approached the court to keep him for 45 days. And the 45 days has lapsed right now, and we are yet to probably hear from them if they are planning to extend the further, abduction of Omoyele Sowore by the Nigerian government. But one twist to all of this. For those who have been seeing it as a very funny thing, this is who we are. I agree. No matter how much we try to pretend to be, to be one, we are very much divided, and that's the truth. So I know it's funny. He's been arrested by the government of Nigeria for doing nothing. Then they came up. They said they are charging him for treason, for trying to overthrow Buhari. That's the position of the government, that Sowore's call for revolution now with other members, including a few other people they have also picked up. So it's a call for revolution now that the government of Nigeria should do exactly what they promised Nigerians: keep the country safe, give the youth jobs, as in fix the country. So they call that a treasonable offense, an offense that could overthrow an elected government. That's their position. But when you start reading online, when you start reading people's reaction, including people who have been in a way, they partially because they don't want to be caught up in the web of if they are jealous or if they are personally happy that this is happening to Sowore from the things that happened in the past. So it's more or less like a consensus now. You will see Buhari Danes, Buhari Diderins, the Buhari Denotus and the Buhari Dijatus, the Buhari Shukus, and then Ungoziaris of this world. You will see all these senior bros and senior aunts abroad, the Mumu lecturers, the Bele lecturers, and the Mumu Madus. You know what I mean? You will see them with articulated morons, articulated mugus, articulated confused people, agreed. Then you will see those ethnic jingoists, ethnic bigots, those who are very much comfortable with the fact that, oh, my tribe is better than your tribe. Your tribe is the tribe that is creating problem in Nigeria. No, it's not my tribe. It's your, the tribal, or let's say the ethnic bigots. They all agreed that Sowore is the problem. In fact, Sowore is the reason why the Nigeria we have today is what it is today. It's like Sowore is the creator, the founder, the manufacturer, the nurturer, the grower of every problem that every Nigerian is facing right now. And that's like a consensus. You will be shocked. Read out there. You will see this category of people agreeing. The articulated morons, the articulators, they agreed that the looting under Jonathan could at least keep them alive, could have sustained them, at least better than under Buhari, if not because Sahara Reporters was exposing Jonathan's government. But they choose this deliberately. It is deliberate that many of them decided to use this line of argument to crucify Sowore. But they decided because that is the most favorable way to agree together that, oh yeah, Sowore brought Buhari. Yes, he was exposing corruption in Jonathan's government. Oh, in fact, the corruption he was exposing, they were actually blackmail. You know what I mean? Because it's the easiest argument to agree that Sowore put them in this whatever situation some of them are today under Buhari. But the same set of people ignored the fact that it was the same Sahara Reporters that gave us the facts, figures, pictures, videos, documents on the Turai Yaradua, under the Yaradua Cabal. The same way you have this Cabal under Buhari. We had it during Yaradua's time, 2010, when Yaradua was dead. And the whole of the country was silent. Nobody could stand up. No journalist in Nigeria could tell us what was going on with Yaradua. And even Jonathan, the star boy, Jonathan, was so much like sidelined, that he was so inconsequential that even Ibori was more powerful than Jonathan, that was a vice president to Yaradua in Nigeria of that era. But it was the grace of Omoyele Sowore and his Sahara Reporters that gave us the lead, the truth about what was going on with Yaradua. What has happened? The power play game. In fact, to the point where the whole country reacted, eventually making Jonathan the substantive president of Nigeria. They forgot, and it's deliberate, like I said. It is deliberate. They know, they remember that it was Sahara Reporters under Omoyele Sowore that exposed the Yaradua Cabal that could have put Nigeria in a serious constitutional crisis. God bless the soul of former Minister of Information, late Mrs. Dora Akunyili. Dora Akunyili was very much an insider that eventually used the leverage of Sahara Reporters. Some of the people who even raised that motion in the National Assembly called the motion of something necessity. For those who remember that phrase, something of necessity, in order to declare Jonathan as substantive president of Nigeria. They used the report, the video, even when they brought Yaradua back to Nigeria dead in the middle of the night, and the vice president of the country, Goodluck Jonathan, was nowhere to be found. He wasn't even aware. They brought Yaradua back to Nigeria dead in the middle of the night. They shot Abuja International Airport. It was Sahara Reporters. Doctrine of necessity. God bless you, Yemi Ikumawoyi. Doctrine of necessity. It was Sahara Reporters that released videos, that released pictures of the movement within the airport that exposed the Yaradua Cabal that eventually made Jonathan the president of Nigeria. Do you forget as well when the North ganged up against Jonathan in 2011 that he won't contest for the presidency of Nigeria? Did you forget? Do you remember? It was actually the same decision of Jonathan to go for second term that pushed Atiku Abubakar out of PDP. And he went then to join Tinubu in AC. You all remember, do you? It was Sahara reporters. And eventually, Jonathan became president. Then the fleece started. People started fleecing the country. People started stealing from the country. The same way we are witnessing under Buhari today. He was doing his job. He was being patriotic. He wanted the best for the country. He wanted the government to be responsible. He wanted to stop this bad behavior in politics. He was just using his own little way of effecting change in our system in Nigeria. And he did. But those who are now looking for his death, those who want him crucified, those who want him hanged, those who want him hung, what do you call it, in the public, because he criticized Jonathan, then they forgot as well that at that same period, when Sahara reporters was reporting every stealing under Jonathan, which came out to be true, every piece of it, true to the core, right? Atiku Abubakar left PDP the second time. Bukola Saraki left PDP the first time. And so were some of your state governors, including Rotimi Amechi. Sahara reporters was reporting. The same way you will come to Mayegun's diary, and Mayegun is just sharing what he sees, just because he wanted to share with you. So, these people left PDP. They call themselves New PDP. They left with the resources they gained from PDP. For years, they decided to move their resources and fight PDP from outside. They colluded. They worked with not just, not just Buhari. They worked with Tinubu. They worked with the same people who are in government today to push Jonathan away. Bukola Saraki came out publicly, yes, and he told his audience that he spent averagely 300 million naira on each state in 2015 election. Many of you saw the video, you saw the audio, but yet Sowore is the problem. Sowore brought Buhari. Saraki publicly admitted to have spent at least 300 million naira per state in Nigeria for Buhari to become president in 2015, except Southwest, which was left for Tinubu to care for. 300 million naira per state. That means all the states in Nigeria, except Southwest State, which Tinubu managed. Saraki came out to publicly admit to that. Then they said, Tinubu refused to release his private jets for Buhari's campaign. Do you know who gave Buhari the private jet Buhari was using? Those pictures you saw during campaign in 2015 of Buhari laughing inside a private jet for his campaign. Do you know who supplied that private jet? Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar in 2015. They all pooled all their resources. You know Rotimi Amechi, and you know what happened in Rivers State. You know how much Rotimi Amechi spent to make sure that Buhari became president. What about other state governors of PDP who left in 2015 to go and team up in bringing Buhari to power? They are not to be blamed. It was Sowore. We have to kill him. We have to jail him. In fact, we have to make sure that we wipe his generation out of this because he brought Buhari. How easy? Because you know why? It is the easiest thing to do. Some of them are supporters of Atiku. Some of them, Saraki is their role model. Some of them are looking forward. They are looking up to some of these PDP personalities scattered all over the country. And to them, the reason why they are now out of power was because the easy person to blame is Sowore, who brought in Buhari. How easy? How convenient? How very convenient, right? Now, let's talk about our other brothers, the Biafran agitators. Not all of you, but we have been reading from you. Many of you have said it openly, repeatedly, that Sowore must be killed because he criticized Nnamdi Kanu. But guess what? The same Nnamdi Kanu admitted that his first ever publicized and publicly widely shared interview was on Sahara Reporters. Way back then. They were friends. Now, Sahara Reporters was doing his own job, right? Reporting as usual, which many of you will disagree with, the same way you disagree with me on many of my posts here. But guess what? That didn't change the relationship between Nnamdi Kanu and Omoyele Sowore. It's so easy for them to reconnect after what happened. And if you go back to your archives, when it got to a point where Buhari's government was doing the same thing they are doing to Sowore now, to Nnamdi Kanu, it was the same Sahara Reporters that gave us detailed evidence of what was going on behind the scene that raised enough publicity for the atrocities of Buhari's government against the Biafrans. But that is not convenient. You know why? Some of our brothers and sisters who are very much so passionate about Biafra struggle, some of them are also Atiku supporters or admirers. Some of them are PDP admirers. Some of them are PDP sympathizers. And this cannot be taken away from this discussion. Because when you look at the unanimous agreement that many of those who want Sowore crucified, destroyed, if you look at them critically, they are coming from these different backgrounds. But for the Buhari Dins and the Buhari Diderins, the Buhari Dinotus and the Buhari Dijatus, to conclude that of my dear Biafran brothers and sisters there, do you know that Nnamdi Kanu is currently asking the rest of the world to demand for the immediate unconditional release of Omoyele Sowore in Nigeria? And do you know that one of the grounds where this fake government is standing on now to charge Sowore for treason is because he met with Nnamdi Kanu in New York. Do you know that? Do you? They met in New York. They discussed about their own experiences. They discussed about the way forward. They discussed about how to work together and move Nigeria out of the hand of these criminals. Because if you look at it critically, it seems like we all want the same thing. We all want to be free. We all want the best for our families. We all want the best for our communities. We want to be safe. And we don't want to be treated like animals in our own country from any part of it. And if that cannot be guaranteed, then let us go our separate ways. So when you look at it critically, you will realize that we all seem to have the same thing in common. We all want the same thing from the system. And if you see through that, then you will realize that the unanimous agreement on asking for Sowore's head is actually a counterproductive way of destroying ourselves and empowering the same people who put us in this whole mess. For the Buhari Dins and the Buhari Diderins, the Buhari Dinotus and the Buhari Dijatus, the Buhari Shukus and the Ngoziaris, the Mumu Madus and the Bele lecturers and the Mumu lecturers, I want to say this to you. We know why you all dread Omoyele Sowore. Do you know we know why? It's because to you, Sowore has something so massive, so big, and so effective that in your dreams, you never believed that an opposition could defeat a sitting president, and in fact took over government peacefully the way Jonathan made it easy. Because to you, it was because Sahara Reporter exposed so many things that your normal conventional media in Nigeria will never share. None of your TV stations will ever share what you will read or watch on Sahara Reporters or Sahara TV. Did you know that? Many of your TV stations will dare not share them. So you were so scared that what if Sowore is allowed to run his full course, to talk to Nigerians, to use his own, to use his own platform to liberate Nigerians. The same way Nigerians reacted when they knew the truth about what was going on under PDP and then Jonathan at the time. You are so scared. But what is your game? That's my own question to you, the Buhari Danes and the Buhari Didirins. That you are so comfortable. You are so comfortable with your government sitting, whining, dining with bandits. Sitting, whining, laughing, patting back with terrorists. Giving them free food, giving them free money, giving them a free will, giving them the security that they can't even assure or guarantee you. You are so comfortable. While those who are asking that you deserve to be protected, while you deserve to be respected as a Nigerian in your own country, not outside the country. Why those who are demanding for that are being jailed? Are being jailed for trumped up charges. And you are comfortable with that, are you? Very comfortable with that. But I have a word for everyone. As I have highlighted all of this, I have a word, one word for all of you. In fact, it's not a one word, it's one sentence for all of you. Sowore can be killed. Well, Sowore can be whatever they want to do to him. He is a prepared fighter. They feared what he carries than what many of you see. They have read through and they are so, jittery. They are so triggered and they are so scared, scared that what if Nigerians should listen to this boy? It was Omoyele Sowore that took on a whole minister in the government of Buhari in a live interview, radio interview, when the minister, as usual, the Nigeria big man, the big man mentality. Who are you? Do you know me? I'm a minister. Do you know who you are talking to? You know that mentality. He wanted to use the same with our own Sowore, but he got washed down. He got disgraced. He got belittled. And he himself, today, is actually the ones that we don't even hear of anymore. Sowore moved from that, faced criminal police in Nigeria, ran into them many times, and he brought them down. Yes, he did. He ran into the Fulani herdsmen on his road campaign. He met with them. He interacted with them. He moved down to the course, to the most dangerous part of the country to meet the Nigerians who are surviving within those territories. He met with them. They saw through that. They knew that if things are not checked, if Nigerians should listen to this guy, if they should take him serious, for a minute, unanimously, this will be catastrophic. He's done nothing wrong. He's committed no crime. But he's been punished for just being a Sowore, our own disruptor. This disruptor in chief, DIC, our own. So, what will be your game if at the end of the day, we have so many people they put in jail right now for different reasons. They said they are charging Sowore for insulting Buhari. They are charging him as well for transferring $16,000 from his bank in Nigeria to Sahara Reporters account. Someone who is running a sort of a multinational, international media organization. That's what Sahara Reporter is. So he moved $16,000 from his bank account. They can't say, oh, we traced that Sowore got paid $20,000 to go and overthrow Buhari. So we now trace the money. This is the person that sent him the money. So we now saw, because Sowore wanted to hide the money, therefore, he decided to transfer it to Sahara Reporter account. They didn't say that. They said he transferred $16,000 from his bank account in Nigeria, his domiciliary account. Someone who lives in America, been living in America for over 17 years of his life. A resident of America, with his family there, his business, his everything there. Transferred $16,000 from his account. The $16,000 they can't trace to be a proceed of corruption, a proceed of anything that has to do with whatever case they are building up on him now. So he transferred $16,000 from his own account in Nigeria to Sahara Reporters account in New York, and he contravened the law. He didn't inform them. Like, he didn't inform them, the DSS, the EFCC, that hello, EFCC, sorry, I just needed to inform you. I have $16,000 in my account, and I want to transfer it to my other business account, which is Sahara Reporters account. So I just want you to know. So thank you. They said he didn't inform them. He transferred $16,000 to his Sahara Reporters account, and he has contravened the law. He has committed a crime of transferring money without permission. Can you beat that? I mean, can you beat that in a country that works? So they are charging him for that. They are charging him for calling for revolution. So hashtag, they even put in the hashtag revolution now is a treasonable hashtag. So anyone who uses hashtag revolution now is committing a crime in Nigeria. Meanwhile, there's no law. There's no law in Nigeria that says hashtag revolution now is a criminal hashtag. There's no law. But you know you are in dictatorship now, full dictatorship, right? So there's no law. But they are charging him for using the hashtag revolution now, because that hashtag can overthrow Buhari. Hashtag revolution now can overthrow Buhari. Wow. They put it in the case, in their case against him. They said he met Nnamdi Kanu in New York. Nnamdi Kanu, to them, is a wanted fugitive in Nigeria, according to DSS in Nigeria. So, because Sowore met with Nnamdi Kanu, so they now planned that Sowore should go back to Nigeria and organize a revolution so that they can overthrow Buhari. So they are charging him for meeting a leader of an organization. You know, they have proscribed IPOB. They've proscribed IPOB as a terrorist organization in Nigeria. It is gazetted in Nigerian book now. IPOB is a terrorist organization. Miyeti Allah, the bandits, they are charity organizations. Are you with me? Miyeti Allah, the bandits, they are charity organizations. The Artsmen. So they said IPOB is a terrorist organization. So because Sowore now met with Nnamdi Kanu, is met with someone that is wanted by government. So they are now planning to overthrow Buhari. So therefore, he has committed a treasonable offense against the government. Sowore has no toy gun. You know those water gun? He has no water gun. But the bandit with AK-47 that posed with a governor, and then you have his security orderlies, you know, his security aides around there, and a bandit posed with a gun. That one is a patriot in Nigeria of today. The bandits are patriots. Can you beat that? Impossible. You can't. There's so many things you can beat in Buhari's Nigeria. So they have put Daddy Yatta in jail. They kidnapped him for over 51 days ago. The guy has family, a young guy. He's a regular critic of APC. He's a very, very, virulent critic of the El Rufaya of Kasina, of Kaduna, Daddy Yatta is a PDP influencer. Daddy Yatta is a Kwakwansiya as well. Daddy Yatta. They kidnapped him for over 51 days now. His family knows nowhere or nothing about him or wherever he is right now as I'm talking to you. No one knows where he is. They kidnapped him at the entrance of his house in Kaduna. The Nigerian police don't know where he is because they are not talking. DSS are not talking. The other security agents that are working undercover in Nigeria, they are not talking, but the guy is gone. There's another guy. Let me get his name up. Kefasin. Kefasin is a regular critic of El Rufaya of Kaduna. The same guy that told us that Jonathan is training assassin from Israel. You remember that story? In fact, El Rufai tweeted back then in 2015, before the election, that Jonathan has a list of those his assassins were going to kill before the election. You remember? Kaduna governor right now, El Rufai, he told us that. And he said he is number 3 on the assassins list, Jonathan's assassins list. Jonathan was president. El Rufai was a nobody, an APC, one of the APC rabble-rousers. He was a governorship candidate. Well, let's give that to him. He accused the president of the country of having a list of his political enemies, and he was number 3 on that list. To this day, we didn't see the assassin. To this day, we didn't see the list, and he got away with it. But Kefasin, a regular critic of El Rufai, is not lying against the governor, just the normal criticism, exposing him, writing things about him and stuff like that. He's been in detention, DSS detention, for 124 days now. They didn't take him to court. He's not charged to court. On the order of El Rufai, Kefasin has been in prison for 124 days. Then we have Agba Jalingo. Agba Jalingo is a recent one. He criticized the governor of Cross River State. Cross River is a blogger. He wrote and criticized the governor of Cross River State. Do you know what they charge him for? They arrested him. They are now charging him for treason in River State. He wanted to overthrow the governor of River State. What a joke. Are you with me? What a beautiful joke. The governor of Cross River State, right? The government of Cross River State is keeping Agba Jalingo because they believe he wanted to overthrow the governor of Cross River State. He's been in jail now for over 20 days. At some point, he had crisis with his health. They had to rush him out of their prison, out of their jail, to a one local clinic. And he's been there for, I think, about 4 days now. I don't know if they've returned him back to their cell. They are charging him for treason, for trying to overthrow the governor of Cross River State. That's a PDP governor, isn't it? He's a PDP governor. They are the same. Then we have another one. I forgot his first name, but they call him Abiri. I think it's Joseph Abiri or something like that. At first, DSS is also a reporter who has his own column online. Then they said he wrote something about the government of Buhari. And DSS picked him up in 2016. The guy was in jail, DSS prison, no trial. Nobody knew where he was. Everyone were looking for him. But guess what? The guy spent 2 years in a lockup cell in DSS dungeon across the country. They put him somewhere for 2 years until an advocacy decided to find him, and they finally found where he was kept, and different people rose in his defense, and eventually he was taken to court. And they charged him for treason as well, trying to overthrow Buhari. Are you with me? Abiri is still in prison to this day. He's been in prison now for, if not more than 4 years now. It will be close to 4 years. James Abiri. No trial, no court, no nothing, just a case, and then a prison sentence. In a democracy. Democracy. Now, just imagine it for a minute. If Mayegun is kidnapped by this same criminal government, do you know that there will be unanimous agreement as well? That yes, he deserves it. He will sit down in the UK. He will be talking rubbish. God punish him. Yes, he should die in jail. In fact, you should kill him. He's the one who brought Buhari. You know, people, everyone will just unanimously agree. Because that's who we are. Unfortunately. That's who we are. Why is he thinking that he's special? Why is Sowore thinking he's special? Did they think he's better than us? Look at the way he's talking. Look at the way he's bragging. This one hasn't even been the president yet. And he's talking like this. Very stupid. I hate him. I don't even like him. Oh, yeah, that's not a good reason not to like him. Just say, he campaigned against Jonathan and he brought Buhari to power. Don't worry about Atiku. Don't worry about Saraki. Don't worry about Amechi. Don't worry about other people, other state governors who they come from PDP, who actually spent billions to bring Buhari to power. No, don't talk about them. You know what? You don't like him, Abi. You don't like the way he talks. You don't like the way he looks, right? My brother, just say he brought Buhari to power. I hate him because he brought Buhari to power. I hate him. In fact, he's the one who brought this mess. In fact, everybody who brought this mess will taste the taste, blah, 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 blah. We know. And we know why. It's because that is who we are. So as for me, they know they pursue me for Glasgow. I have realized, and I've said it, I was in Nigeria in December, and I interacted with people. Politicians, normal people, friends, family, and everyone. You know, it was so easy for me to catch up on so many ways or so many attitude of ours that I've probably just forgot that they are no longer ours, so to say. And I did a video from my own hotel room in Lagos, and I said it loud and clear. If Nigeria is going to survive in any way, it's never going to be my generation, unfortunately. And then it was because of how deep and terrible we are when it comes to taking sides in condemning ourselves, the victims, and then in justifying the criminality of those you call leaders. So I've seen how deep this sentiment is, and I felt like for us to come together, agree on one thing and pursue that one thing, and then put all these leaders in their places where they actually belong will be so difficult, because that's not who we are. Unfortunately, Sowore is gonna be fine. Sowore is gonna come out. He's a political prisoner. is a political prisoner. Nobody wants to be in prison or in any captivity at all. At least if you want to be in captivity, you should be in captivity because you committed a crime. Sowore committed no crime. He did nothing. Sowore is a patriotic Nigerian that many of you, if you can think deep or deeper, so to say, you should be appreciating him. The fact that Goodluck Jonathan squandered the trust, the opportunity, which is actually, it's just what the system in Nigeria is. It's built to work against you. It's built to work against us. It is built to work for them. And I think it's just so little that Jonathan himself could do in this circumstance. He tried in a way, but the looting was massive until Buhari came. And we realized that Jonathan was actually learning job where these criminals are coming from. And obviously, we've all seen that. But instead of us to now unite in a way to probably put an end to the deceit that are constantly popping up whenever we wanted to choose those that should lead us or represent us. Instead of us to unite, to work against that, we are very much comfortable in that division because we finally found a scapegoat for all our problems. And that scapegoat is Omoyele Sowore. It's going to be fine. I remember how many of us as well were actually, excluding myself. I've never really mocked anybody that has been fighting or standing up against the rotten system in Nigeria, for those who know me very well. So that's how many of you actually were mocking, Nnamdi Kanu at that time. The treatment method that all those IPOB, these IPOB guys at that time, the killings, the incarceration, the humiliation, you know what I mean? The brutalization of these, Nigerians who have chosen to be addressed as Biafrans. Many of you were laughing. They deserved it. They were this. Python dance this, Python dance that. Eventually, right? Nnamdi Kanu survived. And he's still very much speaking up, representing his people. So you can look at Sowore right now and feel like you can have your mojo. You can enjoy your mojo. Have your mojo. Have your own, soapy. Have your own public masturbation over this. Enjoy it. Enjoy the acceleration or so there. Enjoy all of that. But it's going to come out better, far better than it was before this whole thing started. People were asking about his lawyers. Listen, Sowore committed no crime in the first place. And this whole thing should have been a joke in the first place. Like, for those who understood the law genuinely, I mean the real lawyers now, not just those senior advocate of, nonsense, the sons. I'm not talking about those ones. Normally, this should be a joke. I'm not a lawyer. I can sit down here for an hour and I will argue this whole case out, and then a responsible judge, not a replica of Babalawo that you call your chief justice in that country now, right? I'm not talking about that Babalawo. I'm talking about a responsible judge or responsible judges. They will agree with me that Nigeria has no case against Omoyele Sowore. But the lawyers are there. But with the criminals in power respect the rule of law? Would they respect the law? Would they respect the court if the judgment is not in their favor? Omoyele Sowore's lawyer, they've been to court twice to demand for his release. At first, they demanded for his release, unconditional release, because the DSS who arrested him or who kidnapped him had no case against him, no evidence of him plotting any, treason against the president of the country. So the court didn't listen to the case. In fact, the judge recused herself. Somehow, they said they had no jurisdiction. They didn't listen to the case. They didn't hear the case. Second time, they approached the court again that Sowore should be released on self-recognition. He is a known Nigerian. He is a former presidential candidate. He is a known and then, a public figure by all standard. That they should use that recognition to release him on his self-recognition. And they will get the shorty to stand for him. And if there's any case against him, then he can start coming to court to, for his defense. The court refused again to hear that case. So now, finally, DSS is approaching the court to sue or charge Sowore and the other guy, management, they call him. They want to, the DSS is now suing 2 of them for treason. So this is an opportunity for Sowore's lawyer now, probably to just, fill their own defense and ask for his release, at least. They say treasonable offense is not bailable, but you must present evidence in the hearing to argue that he's actually a security threat to the country. Mandate, God bless you. I have these smart guys who are very much, conversant with the news, and it's good. Thanks for helping me out there, Kayode, Stephen, Ojetunde. So they will have the opportunity now to approach the court and say, well, these are the allegations, these are the charges. So we can then start treating the charges one by one and then file for his bail application. So his lawyers are doing in their own little way or their own hardest way to use the law to fight this. But you know Buhari. You know those who are working with Buhari. You know the Nigeria Prime Minister. And you know the level of type of democracy they have given to Nigerians now. You know what it is. They will use this for political expediency at some point. So it's going to be a bargaining tool. Something they will likely probably, the same way they thought they could use Nnamdi Kanu as a bargaining chip before 2019 election. Probably that will sway the Biafrans to APC side if they release Nnamdi Kanu, but rather it deteriorated the whole thing further. So they are so useless and so predictable, Nigerian government, so predictable. So they want to keep him there so that they will use him as a leverage at some point, cook up some bail condition, cook up some politicians to stand up and stand up as surety for him, blah, 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 blah. Then they will use that probably as a political expediency at that point in time. But his lawyers are going to keep pushing the same way Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers were pushing and pushing and pushing, but they never honored any of those court judgments. Are you with me? So we shouldn't expect too much. In fact, we should be, we should all be smart enough to envisage how this is going to play out. We should. They've been looking for everything to stick, anything they can just pick up and say, this is the crime. This is the reason why we arrested him. This is the reason why we are going to charge him to court. This is the reason why we are keeping him. They have been looking for almost, but they found nothing. Absolute nothing. Look at the joke of charges they are bringing on him for treasonable offense. For instance, I've heard it. It's not rumor. These same criminals, they will ask for Buhari third term. They will ask for third term for Buhari. And by that time, so many activists, so many whatever human rights speakers, even some of us would have been jailed or sent out of social media, one way or the other, so that there will be nobody to rise against them. There will be nobody to be the opposition. Social media is the only opposition they have in Nigeria, either PDP or APC. Social media is their only problem. Since they can't control social media, it has been a nightmare for them. So if they succeeded in all of this, they will shut so many people up. And guess what? They will ask for third term for Buhari. Because at that point, they will let you know that it is only Buhari that can fix our problem. In fact, you know what I mean? Without Buhari, we should forget Nigeria. Nigeria will finish. And they will tell all this argument towards that. And guess what? There will be nobody to stand up against them. But I trust Nigerians. I don't think that will scale through. But let's remember, like no other president, Buhari is not like every other president. He's a dictator per all parameters. Are you with me now? So we are in it for a very long ride. So if there's any solution that I'm going to prefer tonight, it is just for all of us to go to bed tonight with a second thought about how we have been reacting to this news or to this development since it began. The reason is this: you may enjoy it, right? But right there in your face, right? All these mediums, all these exposés, all these platforms that are giving you the adequate information about what is going on about the country, what is about to happen and so on, they will disappear. And Nigeria will now be, one way or the other, completely isolated. And at that point, it will be all man for himself. I'm not a prophet of doom, but in a democracy, when opposition are nowhere to be found, then you are no longer in democracy. Anyway, you don't need to call in, okay? There's no phone call tonight. And I'm actually coming to the end of the broadcast as well. So I want you to go to bed tonight, wherever you are watching me from today. You've reacted. We've understood. We've heard you, okay? But think about it on the second, on the second thought. What you are trying to ask for is that for those who have those who, in fact, one way or the other, campaigned against Goodluck Jonathan or exposed the government of PDP under Goodluck Jonathan, right, are very much, they deserve to be killed one way or the other. Something needs to happen to them because that will give you the satisfaction. Then what happened to to that time when you will need more people? More outspoken, outspoken people to speak up for more atrocities that Buhari is still going to commit. This is just a warm-up. Let Buhari get the Supreme Court judgment. If the Supreme Court gives him a judgment, before November, by the time you get to 2020, that will be the welcome to next level. And we can continue to wish ourselves evil. We can continue to wish something happened to all of us. We can continue to laugh about it. We can continue to joke about it. In fact, we can continue to pretend that we are not bothered about it. But guess what? One way or the other, everyone will have a bite of what is coming from Buhari. Everyone, one way or another, everyone will have a bite. As for me, to your turn to OE Israel, they are not pursuing me in Glasgow. I thank God for my life. We've done the little we can do. And then, we'll keep doing the little we can still do on this. But Nigeria, God help you. God help your president. In fact, may he last longer than many of you are even prepared for. Because at the end of the day, you will realize that we actually deserve Buhari. If this is how we think, if this is how we want all of us to roll, if this is how all of us want to be mad, right? Then we deserve Buhari. And the longer Buhari stays, in fact, the better for all of us. Good luck to you on that. And we'll keep asking. Free Omoyele Sowore, free Dadiyata, free Kefasin, free our own brother Agbajalengo, and free James Habiri. Free these guys. They have committed no crime. You see all those people they are releasing, all those bandits that have killed people they are releasing. Those ones are those who are supposed to be standing trial for trying to destroy Nigeria, for destroying Nigeria, in fact, for killing Nigerians. They've committed crimes. These guys have committed no crime. How can you punish people for crimes that hasn't been committed? No evidence of any crime committed here that should warrant them to have lost their liberty, to have lost their freedom in a democracy. You would wish we are living in Syria, Iran, Iraq, but guess what? Those places are actually much better because those who are being punished there are mainly those who have committed crime. In Nigeria, you are punished for asking the government to do the right thing, and you are rewarded for committing crimes, including looting, public stealing, and so on and so forth. I wanted you to go to bed tonight with this thought that are your own sentiments towards this really going to be in the favor of the generality of all of us? Or we just have to just live with it and then die like that? I'll stay in Glasgow, at least for now. Okay? So may God bless Nigeria, and God bless those who want Nigeria or wish Nigeria well. And God bless those, in fact, who also think the best for Nigeria is Buhari. Everyone will have a bite. It's just a matter of time. Good evening.
Where them do, we still they wait to see the change. Cause all the promise what them make. It don't be like saying I'm fake, yo. Where the money, where the food. Nigerian people want improve.